Morning, Stampin' Friends. I am Pat Fairless from Fairless Stampin' Flair, and I'm glad you're watching. I have a fun technique. At least it's fun for me. This is the kind of technique that I love. Um, I don't know what it is about these kinds of techniques, but they're just fun for me because you never know what they're going to turn out like. Um, and I'm calling it aluminum foil painting. I've kind of recently gotten into this watching videos on this paint and pour, and I really want to learn how to do that. If any of you know how to do that and have tips, I'd love to hear them. But I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I saw them do something with aluminum foil and paint that I thought, well, hey, maybe I can do this with my inks. So we're going to give it a try today. I think it's kind of fun and it's super easy. So let's just put the camera down and get started. So you don't need very much. You need a piece of aluminum foil. You need a piece of cardstock, and I've actually tried it with 3 different types. I'm going to do it first for you with watercolor paper because it does require water. So we've got a Stampin' spritzer here filled with some water. And then we need water-based ink. So you can either use our Stampin' Right markers or you can use our classic Stampin' pads. I'm going to show you both ways in case you have markers but no pads or pads but no markers. I'm going to show you how to do it both ways. So I'm going to show you the markers way first. My personal opinion is this is the easiest way, and easy is probably a poor terminology. This is just very obvious on how to do this. So I have all the new in color markers. These are the new 25, 27 in colors. If you haven't seen them yet, this is kind of a sneak peek. These will be available for everybody to purchase come May 6th. So not very far away. As a demonstrator, we get to pre-order a few things early. And this time we were able to get the markers. This color is called Timid Tiger. I'm not necessarily an orange fan, but for some reason I find myself gravitating to this color often. This is called Strawberry Slush, and we've had this color before, I believe, as an in color, and they brought it back. It's a kind of a pretty rosy red, pinkish color. Then we have Secret Sea. Now this is supposed to be some sort of a dark blue. I'll be honest with you. If you look carefully in the right light, you can see a tinge of blue, but it's really more like a very soft black. I think this is a great neutral. I'm loving this one too. This one is called Cloud, something Cloud. Just have to look at the name. I've got these all named yet. Cloud Cover. It's kind of a grayish color with a tint of blue in it. It's like an overcast, cloudy sky. And this one is called Darling Duckling, and it's kind of a warm yellow color. So what we do for this is we start out with a piece of aluminum foil, and you want your aluminum foil, just for simplicity's sake, to be larger than whatever your cardstock is. I'm starting out with a 5.5 by 4.25 inch piece of paper. You can make it whatever color you want, or whatever size you want. I just took a 1/4 sheet. So, and it's watercolor paper. So, but that's, I don't know, 5.5 by 4.25 is what I'm used to cutting. But you don't have to necessarily have it larger than you want, but you do want your aluminum foil larger. So, and I'm also going to show you how to do it with basic white cardstock in case you don't have watercolor paper. And I also experimented with a retired kind of paper we used to have called shimmery white. And I'll show you what that looks like too. All of them work fine. So the type of paper you have is not critical. I did not try it with any colored cardstock. But if you had a pale colored cardstock, like Pretty in Pink or something, I think it would even work with that as long as you picked colors to go with it. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start, and my card's going to go in this direction. So I'm just going to start this way, and we're just going to scribble some ink on here. And again, it needs to be water-based. So these are the Stampin' Write markers, not Stampin' Blends. I do not think this would work with Stampin' Blends. It might, but I think if you were to use blends, you would want to spritz it with isopropyl alcohol, and then it would probably work better. But this is meant for watercolor. So I'm just gonna put these on here and just kind of scribble, okay? A little here and a little there. So we'll start with the strawberry slush. And I'm going to add some Timid Tiger. And I probably put a little too much strawberry slush. I'm going to have to shorten up my width of my things here. Got a little carried away. But this is just scribbling. So don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about it at all. Just scribble. We can all scribble, right? And then let's use the cloud cover. Not quite as easy to see on the aluminum foil, but I don't know how well you can see it because obviously it reflects, but in real life you can see these just fine, so you know where you are. And then we're going to put just a little bit of the Secret C down here so it doesn't get too dark. Now we're going to take our water spritzer and we're going to lightly spritz this. The amount of water will affect the outcome. There's no good, no bad. With watercolor paper, if you have more water, it doesn't hurt anything because the paper is meant to handle water. If you're using regular cardstock, you probably want to try a little less water because otherwise your paper kind of curls. And I would recommend, instead of using the standard basic white, use the thick, just because it'll manage the water a little bit better. So we're just going to lightly spritz this. And you can see when it kind of starts to bubble a little bit. That's enough. Then all we're going to do is we're going to take our cardstock and we're going to lay this in here, kind of rub it around. We've done stuff like this similar with Stampin' Blends and plastic wrap, and then pick it up, and that's what you get. Now, if you don't like that, I kind of like it, but you can tilt it. And I've had quite a bit of water on here, so you can see that the colors really blended. And you can either set this aside to dry, or you can take your heat tool and speed it up if you want. I've got mine handy, so we'll just dry it a little bit. On the watercolor paper, it absorbs pretty quickly. So you're not really able to blow it around too much. Other paper, if you get too much water, you can actually blow it around. So I just want to dry it off so I can handle it a little bit easier. But that's what it looks like. Is that pretty? And you can turn that into a card. I'm going to show you my card that I made was watercolor paper. It was this one, and I didn't spritz quite as much water. This was actually the very first one I did. And I liked how this turned out because it didn't spread quite as much. Some of my other ones did spread more. But this I had less water on there because I just really didn't know what I was doing. But I kind of like that pattern. But again, this one would be equally just as pretty, right? And then I just stamped a simple flower on here. This is from the stamp set called Gallery Blooms. This is also a sneak peek from the new catalog that's coming May 6th also. And it's this one here. This is a beautiful stamp set. It does have coordinating dies, and you've seen me use this in the last few weeks of them. So now, if you want, just take a paper towel. You can wipe it up and reuse it. It's fine. For simplicity today, I'm to show you the other way I did it. If you didn't have Stampin' Write markers and all you had were ink pads, you can use sponge daubers. So I am going to make the next one using my sponge daubers and some ink pads, and I'll just show you how to do that. I'm going to try this one I'm going to use regular basic white cardstock. I should say thick basic white cardstock. The card I made with this is one of them that has the shimmery white. I'm going to show you samples of, so you can compare with this design here, with all three, so you can compare. But let's just go ahead and grab another piece of aluminum foil. And here I'm going to kind of make something that I'm going to use for like a water sky scene. So the four colors I picked were Blueberry Bushel, Balmy Blue, Fresh Freesia, and Lemon Lolly. So I'm just going to open these up. Move this card out of the way before I stick something in it that I don't want to stick in it. Everything's always a little bit, make sure I stay in the frame here. My space is still cramped. We're not quite done with my remodeling yet, although we made excellent progress in the last week, so I think it'll be done very soon. All right, so I'm going to kind of make like a sky water scene. I'm just going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to now, rather than, I could again take these four colors with markers and just scribble, but here I'm just going to take my sponge dauber, and I'm going to sponge some right on the aluminum foil. Hopefully, I think you can see that. The more ink you put, the darker your colors are going to be. If you want them light, don't put so much. It's pretty much a matter of personal taste, right? Whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to make a landscape card. So there's my water. And let's go ahead and add above the water just a little bit of lemon lolly. And I don't want a lot of this. This is just kind of going to be like maybe the sun peeking over the horizon on the water. So I just kind of want just a little bit. And I'm going to close these as I go so that I don't stick things in it. The fun part for me is you never know how this is going to turn out because they all turn out different. You could see between my card and that first one, they looked very different, right? So here's a little fresh freesia, and we're just going to put that right above the water. Now with using a sponge dauber, I recommend trying not to overlap too much because you don't want to get, if I were to overlap the yellow, I'm going to pick up yellow on here, and then I'm going to get that yellow in my fresh freesia. Probably not as important with fresh freesia and yellow as it was with the blue, but just leave a space between. It's fine. We're gonna add water so they'll run together, and even if there is white space, nothing wrong with that either, right? White space is sometimes helpful. And then I'm going to put some balmy blue up here in the sky, and we'll go ahead and maybe add a little bit more of that up here. And again, I'm going to try to stay out of the fresh freesia so that I don't transfer the ink from one ink pad to the other. It's kind of why I like the markers too. See, it's so much, first of all, it's so much quicker to just scribble ink on here with a marker, but not everybody has markers and not everybody wants to buy markers. So this way you can use your ink pads and your sponge daubers and just put a little bit on your aluminum foil with the dauber. Okay, so now let's go ahead and spritz this, and I'm going to spritz a little bit less. And I'm holding this probably 10 inches, or yeah, probably 8 to 10 inches away from the aluminum foil, so I don't get a lot on it. It still is, I still did get quite a bit, probably a little more than I was hoping to, but let's give it a try. So I'm just going to lay that in there and go ahead and pick it up. Oh, I like that. That turned out really nice. You can see how it's got some of the white where it didn't. I also didn't leave it on the aluminum foil quite as long. And it's not too wet. It's feeling fine. I am going to dry it just a bit here. I really like how this one turned out. It's this one that really. And you may like the other one better. Right? That's the fun. This one did not flow into each other as much. And I got a little bit more pattern in there, I guess you would say, where this one really flowed and it just really looks like a color wash. I do kind of like how this ended up here. It looks like a storm cloud. Kind of looks like a tornado, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe. But anyway, that's that one. So let me show you that card. And for this card, I used the Sunrise Sailing stamp set, which will be a new online exclusive. Also beginning May 6th. We have lots of new products coming May 6th. And if you've been watching me at all, you know I love all things water. I live on a lake. So this is a pretty water-themed sail. It's got pretty sailboat. There's dies that go with it. It also includes a hybrid embossing folder, which I haven't played too much with yet, but you can cut out the sailboat, just the sailboat if you want from that, but it's embossed and raised, so that's kind of cool. So here's my card that I made with this. I liked it. I was happy how that turned out. The sailboat's really fun because there's this detail that you can add to the sail. If you see the yellow, that's just stamped on there. You can stamp the color of the boat, so you can change the boat color, which is very, very cool. So that is that card. On the inside, this one I practiced a little bit too, so I had an extra sheet. Sometimes I like to just do two when I'm doing it to practice and learn, and then I cut pieces to do something else. So I had a piece here to put on the inside, and I also had another piece here to put on the edge of my envelope. So that is that card, and I have one more card to show you, and this was made with the Layered Thoughts stamp set. This is also in the new upcoming catalog. This was I went to On Stage for my first time ever. And this was one of the Prize Patrol's gifts that they gave to everybody. So it's a stamp set in this new catalog. And it's got some great sentiments, some large sentiments. And this is the card I made with this. Now this one I did, this is actually on basic white thick cardstock, that this one I did. And I just scribbled, these are the 24, 26 in colors. We've got Summer Splash, Peach Pie, Petunia Pop. I always want to call this Emerald Envy, and that's not right. Shy Shamrock, and Pretty in Pink. So I just scribbled at an angle and then laid that in there and stamped the stamp from here with, this is basic gray. I didn't want it quite as harsh as black, so I just used basic gray, but very simple card. On the inside, I just used the Time to Celebrate from, I don't remember what that's from. Let's see if I've got it written down. Beautiful Butterflies. This is from Beautiful Butterflies. So, and I put the same thing on the flap of the envelope. So those are my three cards. Now, I did tell you I was going to show you quickly here. All three of these that I used to make this with the three different types of paper, just so you could easily compare. So this one was on watercolor paper. You can see I did it twice. I think I had a little more water on this one. I've got a few water spots on here, which adds some interest. You'll also find as you pick the cardstock off from your aluminum foil, how you pick it off, if you peel it one direction or the other. totally makes a difference. So that's watercolor paper. This one here is basic white cardstock. And you can see they look quite different. All the same color inks. And this one is shimmery white. So this one, you don't know if you can see it, but this cardstock does have a little shimmer to it. I wish they'd bring shimmery white back. I love it. And it handles water so much better. But here again, I didn't spritz a lot. And I thought that turned out really very interesting too. But again, both of these are watercolor. So look how different the two look, right? And some of it's probably the amount of ink I had on here. So I wanted to show you that. So what do you think? Do you like that technique? Kind of fun, isn't it? I think it's kind of fun, super easy. Don't need a lot of supplies. And it comes, you never know what it's going to look like. That's what I like. I feel kind of artsy when I do those because it comes out and it looks like I knew what I was doing. You can see I didn't. I just dipped it in the paint, or in this case, ink, and pulled it up, and everyone looks different. So I hope you like that. If you liked it, would you give me a thumbs up? I'd appreciate it. Share the video with your friends, and we can all learn together. It's more fun. As I always say, it's more fun to learn with others than to try to figure it out all by yourself. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. God bless, and we will see you something out next week with something else. Have a good one. Bye-bye.